When we started working on season 1, we talked a lot about what made each of these people who they were. We felt like we needed to find who they were at the core and then build out on that.
Each character is different. That seemed really important to try to make them all different from one another. So each one is an individual, but kind of how they all fit together is really good. I think the voice actors define the characters, and their individual personalities help shape the characters and really helped us separate one from the other.
We knew we wanted distinctive, realistic sounding voices because these characters truly are heroes. You wanted to get some sort of heroic quality as well.
Titans, go!
When we were talking about Robin, we were walking around this mall where we'd had lunch, and we saw these kids doing skateboard tricks. I realized all of a sudden, well, that's who Robin is, because there's a fearlessness about that. And when you blow that up to superheroic proportions, it's a kid who will jump off the roof of a building and figure out how to survive on the way down.
One of the things that I think is so cool about Robin is he's the one Titan that doesn't have any superpowers. He's gotten to where he is just through like perseverance and training, and he's this martial arts master.
So for the voice of Robin, we auditioned a gentleman named Scott Menville. It's got kind of a raspy quality to his voice. It's an identifiable voice.
Titans, have you heard anything from Hotspot? I've lost his signal.
It's pretty close to my voice. It's just I pitch it up to make him sound a little younger and kind of try to make him sound steely and a little cold. Early on, they threw out the reference of Clint Eastwood. Like in the first couple episodes, Andrea, the director, would say, "Give me a little Clint Eastwood."
Scott Menville definitely brought an intensity to it. And that kind of matched what we needed for the heroic part 2 and the leader in charge. And you can give somebody Titans Go, but it could also sound really hokey if you don't give it to the right person. And, you know, he's made it a very cool, you know, signature phrase.
Titans, go!
Azarath Metrions Zinthos.
Raven's a little bit more worldly, and she's kind of experienced more, and she's kind of more withdrawn than the other characters.
She was just instantly the goth, and we kind of knew how to approach that character.
We needed a different kind of voice than the other gung-ho hero voices that we were looking for the rest of the cast.
Initially, I just thought maybe she'd be cool and down here and dark and not your standard over-the-top animated performance. And so I went in and I did Raven, really just as my own voice, as really low-key.
She did 3 or 4 different takes, 3 or 4 different versions of what Raven might sound like, and they were all quite good. And as she walked out of the studio during the callback audition, she said, "I have one more thought."
I just had this idea that since she is part, you know, devil, that maybe there'd be some kind of odd texture to her voice. And I thought it'd kind of be cool if she had like a little bit of Zelda from Poltergeist in her. And I just started reading her with this, you know, unusual rasp that sort of rotates, as opposed to a boy rasp where, you know, if I'm doing a little boy, he's got a rasp here. She's got like a rolling rasp that's kind of strange and eerie, and that's what booked the part.
The mirror you found is for meditation. It's a portal into my mind, not a toy!
My bad.
Beast Boy's kind of the class clown and the shape changer. He can be any animal he wants, but he's really insecure.
Imagine being a little green 14-year-old kid in this world and how people would look at you. And so that right there, I connected with that because I've always been kind of like the outsider of everybody. So me and Beast Boy have that in common.
For the voice of Beast Boy, Greg Cipes, he had a quality to his voice that I just loved. It was so innocent and so sort of free.
Can you beat any fish in the sea? I don't think so.
When I came into the audition, they had a picture of Beast Boy on the stand, and all of a sudden,
I was like, oh, so, Raven, so you want to play some basketball or whatever?
It just came out. I never did that voice ever before in my whole life.
I think that the way that I would have written Beast Boy, had we not cast Greg, would have been a little bit more crass and a little bit more of a jokester. So hearing his voice coming through Beast Boy really led me to write the character a very different way.
Come on, you guys. Can't anybody take a joke?
He'll never stop just being himself. No matter how mean people are to him or they don't get his jokes, he'll come up with more jokes. People don't really get Beast Boy all the time, and people really don't get me. a lot of the times too.
Cyborg is a kid who got hurt when he was in high school. He used to be an athlete, and so now he's this half robot, half teenage guy. And the robot part of him, you know, has made him stronger, you know, faster, you know, and given him these powers that he never would have had before.
If you were 15, 16, and all of a sudden you could do all of these things, yeah, there would be some regret, but there would also be a lot of, wow, this is amazing.
He's either really happy or he's really down. There's very few points where Cyborg's just kind of like, how you doing? I'm all right, I'm okay. I could take it, I could leave it. He's either, let's do it, or he's like, what are we gonna do, you know? So he's just really exuberant.
When he would say, booyah, it was totally believable. You knew that he was behind it, he was enthusiastic, it didn't sound silly.
Give me a booyah out there. I'm gonna say booyah. Booyah! Give me a booyah. I love it.
We must mend your dispute by the sharing of unhealthy junk foods. I shall fetch them.
Starfire's not familiar with things on Earth. So we were saying, well, she has to be innocent, but everything's new to her.
So we started talking about her as the fact that she was a foreigner, that she was a foreign exchange student. And it started to make sense that, okay, she's from another place. Maybe she would hang a toilet seat on her wall and think that was, you know, that was art.
We knew we wanted some quality about her that was unique. So we needed something that was slightly different than what the other Titans sounded like, because she's just learning about the planet. She sometimes messes up the terminology. She'll say, you know, he has not yet done the booyah. So she'd have these phrases because she didn't really understand the language yet.
Hynden Walch came in and brought the character to life. She would put a certain inflection on things, or she would throw a word in or take a word out, and we started writing more and more to that.
I suggest a large pizza with pickles, bananas, and mint frosting.
When all the Titans came together and we recorded the first episode, that's when we knew that it was really gonna work, because it was so much fun and all the different voices and all the different characters really worked together.
The writers can't help but watch the interplay that takes place between the actors, between the characters, and then they feed upon that as they go on and write scripts from there.
The actors have taken an active role in helping us determine who these people should be. So at every level, people have really had a lot of great input. I think that allowed them to become much more complete as characters.